Hi everyone. Okay, so we had a little bit of a break this week, but now it's time to finish our bag. So in the last couple of days, while I've been trying to figure out if I could get my singer to work, and testing out the Juki to make sure that everything was okay, I did sew up all the straps, but I had to redo the handle because that was a test piece that I just sewed like 5 lines of stitching in, so I got to start over on that one. Hey, Deb. So I am just going to take the handle piece. I already drew a 2-inch line down the middle, or a 2-inch line from the side, and I'm going to take my double-sided tape and run a line right down that line. Also, as a reminder, there is a Rafflecopter giveaway, and that's been extended, I want to say, until Monday. So make sure you sign up for the raffle. We are giving away 1 Swoon pattern and 1 Mrs. H pattern of your choice. Hey, Beth. Alright, so I got my double-sided tape on there. Just going to peel that off and put my ends in the middle, but not the entire way. So like you want to leave like a super scant, like 1/8 of an inch or even 1/16 of an inch. Deb, I don't know if you only enter once. Try entering again and see if it lets you. Hi Cheryl, hi Lisa. So now that it's getting warmer, my sewing room is usually super hot because it faces the sun. And I had my window open earlier, and neighbor children are outside playing, which, yay, that's great. But it was very loud. So I got a little mini fan going. If you can hear the fan, please let me know. Oops. Okay, so with the handle, treat it just like the straps, where we have, we draw a line down the middle, fold in to meet the double-sided tape, and then we fold one more time. So just our normal 4-layer strap. And fingers crossed. And we're going to sew at a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And because it is thick and it is technically top stitching, I am doing a stitch length of 4. Ooh, that was close. Hang on, I knocked something off the table. Like my entire container of clips. And I see myself knocking that over, so let's just move that. Oh, and I put my board back up with anchors this time, so hopefully that does not crash to the ground again too. Ugh, much better. So let me see if hopefully it focuses so that you can see. So the stitches are not skipping like they were before. Sorry, the lighting is atrocious, so I don't even know if you can see it or not. And then let's go ahead and do the other side of the handle. Uh-oh. And I swear it was fine. So my thread just broke. Maybe just this bag. Maybe this bag was just not meant to be. Okay, when I can't even thread the needle. Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. Hi, Michelle. I am, thank you. No problem, Lizzie. Okay, so I think the secret, or the secret for right now, is for me to not go fast. Because it seems like when I try to pick up the speed, that's when my thread, my needle thread breaks. Okay, so now I have the handle. Oh, I didn't know that they could enter every day. So yes, you can enter more than once. So now that we did that, I cut my zipper length, so zipper by the yard. And the pattern wants 12 inches. I cut about 12 3/4. Just because I like having that little extra just in case, you never know. So what I'm going to do first is to take out my electric candle lighter, whatever, and we're going to burn the edges of the zipper tape so it stops fraying. And then this is the part that always makes me nervous. I'm going to just take the zipper apart, grab our zipper pull and the handy dandy towel hook thing that was all the rage. And so if you haven't seen this, this is what it looks like when you set it up. So you're going to take your zipper pull and put it wrong side out right through here. And so that thin slot right there is going to hang on to like that hook where that holds the pole. So it's going to look like this from the side. And then let's grab our zipper tape. Make sure that you have the correct pieces the correct way, because you don't want to do one side right side up and one wrong side up. So then you feed it into your zipper doohickey. And it is a little harder to do when it's not mounted to something. I did not want to mount it to my table or anything because I don't want it to be there forever. So instead, I like to make my life difficult. Jenna, it is like it's a towel hook, a tea towel hook, adhesive hook, something like that. And I swear sometimes, well, most of the time it is easier than I make it look, I promise. Oh, so remember I just talked about make sure you have the right sides up? Yeah, I didn't. So I wonder why it wouldn't fit. Hi, Cindy. So because your zipper pull is wrong side out, you want your zipper tape to be wrong side out as well. Okay, I've decided that for my next live, I am mounting this to something. I don't know what. But it will get mounted to something. Okay, finally. So I'm taking it to the top, but not all the way to the top. And I am just going to sew a couple of stitches at the end to keep the zipper pull from coming off. And it doesn't have to be anything perfect because it's going to be sewn into your bag anyway. You just want to make sure that there is something to prevent the zipper pull from sliding. Alright, so let's grab the instructions and we will do the front pocket. So we're going to pin the exterior upper panel to an exterior lower panel. Jenna, I am using waterproof canvas for the lining and the pocket lining. And I am using just a home decor weight fabric that I got from IKEA. I did put some woven interfacing on the back just to kind of stiffen it up a little bit. So that's going to be my upper, and then my lower is this brown camel vinyl. So I want to make sure I know which end is 18 inches and which end is 17 inches. So it's 18 inches wide. So I have this little ruler that like adheres to my table. That way I can do just quick spot checking. So this way I know is the shorter one and this one is the longer one. So mark that real quick just so that I'm not sewing things wrong way later or on the wrong edge. Okay. So you're going to take your longer edge of your contrasting and match it up with the long edge of your exterior. So then just toss some clips on there. So right now for this, because this is a really it's a really slick vinyl and it will scratch easily and hold indents. So I am choosing to use these little duckbill clips instead of the Wonder clips because the Wonder clips can leave marks. And then we're going to sew along the matched edge at 1 inch seam allowance only for 3 inches and then back stitch. So grab the ruler. So we are going to sew 3 inches. Just going to take a Sharpie and kind of just mark where the 3 inches is going to be. So because I know I am going to use a 1 inch seam allowance and I want to sew 3 inches long. So on my ruler, I just butt it up to this point right here because that's 1 inch over and 3 inches long. So then I just, it's easier to do it this way. Sometimes I do it upside down. So this one I'm going to actually use the other side of the ruler, but I still know that it's 3 inches because of this side and 1 inch over. So for example, right here, I would be marking, just making little dashes on both sides of this corner of the ruler. So I know we had talked about doing cutting slash ruling tips and tricks. So we got started a little early and gave you one. So that's why I like these rulers that have marks this one's pretty much every 1/8 of an inch, and that you can see through. Hey Ingrid. All right, so now, because now we're constructing the actual bag, I'm going to change my stitch length to a 3 and drop my presser foot. And don't forget to backstitch. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side of the bottom. So make sure your edges are still lined up from your clip, and slide it over to make that 1-inch seam allowance, and start with a back stitch. Jenna, I am using a walking foot, or sometimes it is also called an even feed foot. It has its own set of feed dogs underneath the feet, so it helps feed both the top layer and the bottom layer with the feed dogs that are actually on your machine. So it kind of helps everything move at the same pace, and very helpful when you have layers. Hey, Nova. Ingrid, no, actually, this is the same walking foot. I managed to take some pliers and I bent the heck out of it back, because I was just that desperate for my machine to work. And my new foot was supposed to come today, and of course I checked the tracking. I'm like, where is this? And in transit, arriving late. I'm like, great. So, alright, so this is what it looks like. So I have 3 inches sewn over here, and then nothing, and then 3 inches over here. So we are going to put it wrong side up and press the seam allowance open. So yes, we are using vinyl. So what I am actually going to do is just use my little roller thing first. And usually with that, I can get decent enough creases. So I'm doing the 2 edges where we just sewed, and then I'm just going to fold the middles in so that they touch and roll those 2. Jenna, this is my first one. Generally, for my bags, they're ones that I haven't made before. The exception is the Lola. The Lola is the only one that I had made previously, but it was only one bag. Okay, so I rolled it out, and you have this. If you look on the right side, or the correct side, you can see where the crease is. So that way I don't have to apply any heat to it and don't have to worry about anything melting. So now we are going to center the zipper face down over the seam. I would lose my brain if it wasn't attached inside my head. Where did it go? I just had it. Oh my gosh. Did it fall? Oh, Jen, I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. I honestly think that that's why people watch, because it's very relatable. Seriously, where's my zipper? I just cut it. I just fed it through with the zipper foot. Oh, it fell underneath my table. Okay, so now we are going to center the zipper face down over the seam. So remember, your panels are still wrong side up. So for me personally, I am doing the zipper pull to the right, if you're looking at to the back, from the back side, because it is my preference that when bags are closed, that the zipper pull end up on the left side. That's a good way of putting it, Nova. Yes. It's like a black hole that keeps sucking up things, and I'm just like, where did I just had that? Oh, thanks, Alicia. She actually said that in there, too. The zipper pull should be to the right. Okay, so now we should pin or glue baste the zipper in place. So I'm not going to pin, and I'm not going to glue baste. Let's see how this works out. So this is surgical tape. Funny story. They sell this on Wawak, and I didn't know why. I still don't really know why. I didn't know that it was a common thing to use. But if I didn't know why people would use it for sewing, please tell me, why did I buy this? Got problems. So the purpose of this is not to actually put or keep the zipper tape there permanently like that. It is just to hold it there so it stays in place when you actually attach it. And then you pin a pocket panel. Wow, that's some alliteration for you. So the pocket panels are my waterproof canvas. And you're going to pin one right side down to the wrong side of the upper and lower panels with the top edge of the pocket panel matching the top edge of the upper seam allowance. Okay, so all that to say, take your pocket panel right side down and match it up with the top part of your zipper section. So this part right here, this top one, so not where I have the vinyl. So I am also just eyeballing it to make sure that I have the panel in the right spot and it's centered. So as you can see, I did not measure, did not do anything. I just kind of eyeballed it. Do that a lot. And the pocket panel should be covering the zipper and should be 2 inches from the side edge. And the raw edge of the pocket panel should be matching the raw edge of the main panel. So right here should match, and then you should have 2 inches here, and then 2 inches here. So now we are going to flip the entire piece over right side up, and we're going to top stitch along that seam. So I am just checking to make sure that my zipper is still in the middle right here in this middle opening, because if it's not, then I know I am not centered. But it is, so far so good. And don't know where this came from, but let's cut that real quick so it doesn't poke out. And make sure that your seam allowance is still pressed open. So the part that we're sewing, so we're top stitching the side with the upper main panel. So that's the, I'm just going to call this the canvas side or the fabric side. So your fabric side should have 2 layers of the canvas because you folded it over, right? So you have this big one, and then you have this 1 inch seam allowance that we sewed earlier. And then you have your zipper. So mine is in there. And then you have your pocket panel. So everything should be right side up. So the pocket panel, the right side should be facing up. Your zipper teeth should be facing up. And your main panel should be facing up. So I'm just going to kind of roll this over just to make some space. But then I forgot that I had clips in here. And we're going to top stitch along the entire seam. So from edge to edge. And we're going to do it at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And because I don't know where 1/4 inch is, take my seam gauge and my heat erase pen, and just gonna make a couple of marks all the way down, just so that I have an idea of, like, am I at a 1/4 inch? Am I anywhere near a 1/4 inch? And I'm doing it with a heat erase pen so that it will disappear once I press it after we're all done. Jenna, I am using a 90-14 right now, so just a regular standard universal needle. And I'm just using regular Gutermann all-purpose 100% polyester thread. So whatever I would use to be sewing normally, that's what I have in right now. So top stitching, change your stitch length. So mine's back to a 4. And so when you get close to your zipper pull, go ahead and be careful because your zipper is only basted or lightly taped in there, so you don't want to pull too hard, then your entire zipper is going to move instead of just the pull. So move that out of the way so that you can continue sewing, because you definitely don't want your foot to go over it. You don't want to be me and the pocket panel slipped. I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this part, but it looks like I'll have to, because it'll probably make it a lot easier. No problem, Jenna. Ask all the questions you want. Gives me something to talk about. So I'm going to move this piece of tape and I am using my pinking shears just to trim a little bit off of this 1-inch seam allowance. So I'm not taking it all the way down to the zipper. I'm just doing, I wouldn't say, maybe half of it, if that. So for me, the benefit is it'll make it easier for me to know that the zipper panel is lined up properly. And because this home deck fabric frays, it will help reduce the fraying. So let's put that pocket panel back, line it up, and now I'm going to use some double-sided tape. So I'm just going to put it on the edges of the right side of my pocket panel. And I'm not running it the entire way down. I am doing this just to make sure it stays in place. Because there's nothing worse than going through and sewing a line and you finish that seam and you pick it up and then you realize that you did not attach what you were supposed to attach. Alright, so I peeled that all off, and so when I'm lining this up, I am making sure that it is lined up at the zipper tape, because that's what I want to make sure is caught. Like, I don't want to sew it to the home deck fabric and not have the zipper tape caught in it, because that would defeat the purpose. Okay, so again, pull the zipper out of the way. Drop my presser foot where I left off. Okay, so when I get far enough that there's enough clearance to move the zipper pull back, I'm going to pivot the fabric with the needle still in it, and I'm just going to use my finger, or you can use a stiletto or something if you don't want to stick your finger in there. So you can use my stiletto and just move that zipper pull back to the other side of the presser foot. Uh-oh. Don't you love it when I say uh-oh? So I just talked about not missing the zipper tape, but I sewed way too close to the zipper, so I didn't have everything aligned correctly. So I literally sewed right next to the zipper teeth, so the zipper won't move because it has nowhere to move. So let's rip some stitches. Pat, I have a TL 2000 QI. Thankfully, this is on the fabric side, so not as big of a pain or issue to seam rip here. Oh no, Deb. Yeah, sometimes you just have those days where it feels like you did more harm than good to your projects. Usually that's when I will leave my sewing room and go lay down with a book or something. Because if I'm already in a frustrated mood and about sewing and I continue to sew, usually doesn't make it any better. So I'm being super careful when I'm ripping these stitches because I don't want to snag the actual fabric because this is the exterior. So I want to make sure that it still looks clean. I don't know why I didn't just rip it from this side. Would have been so much faster. Okay. So believe it or not, it is just now occurring to me that, hey, maybe I should use green thread instead of brown. Do I have a green? Alright, let's check. So hang on one second. Okay, so I have a couple of green options. And I don't like either of them. So when I went and grabbed an olive, which I like a lot better. Grab a new bobbin. You know you are a sewing addict when the Wawa catalog comes to your house and your boyfriend hands it to you right away and goes, "Oh, you're going to want this." So it's exactly what happened today. I got my April catalog in the mail and Jeff just hands it to me. Which, the good news is, Gutermann is on sale next month. So, good time to stock up. I didn't get a chance to look at the rest, so I don't know what else is on sale, but... Thank you. Alright, so now we are switching over to this olive. And, ugh, this is the worst. Okay. And then I'm going to take my beige thread out. The lazy part in me wants to just leave the thread hanging, but the other part of me knows that is not a good idea. So I am winding it back up, taking my spool cap, putting it on the olive, and rethreading. Yeah, they have a catalog. The funny thing is, the only thing I look at it for is to find out what's on sale. Because it's technically still March, so that's all they show online. And there's nothing worse than having to buy a bunch of stuff or deciding to buy like a bunch of needles or something, and then like 2 days later, that's what goes on sale. Ingrid, I think go to the website, and with most websites, it's like down at the very bottom, there should be like a enter your email to join our mailing list or something like that. Okay. So now it's going to be like the longest Sewalong in history. Okay, so remember we are back at our 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I am now going to check and make sure that my zipper is exactly where it is supposed to be. Because I do not want to fix this again. Okay, like I was saying earlier before I realized that... Hey, Colleen. Before I realized that I wasn't sewing through the correct thing. So keep your needle in the fabric. Rotate just the fabric. And pull your zipper to the part that you've already sewn so that it stays out of your way. And then align it back exactly where it needs to go. And then drop your foot and keep going. Oh, Jenna, that's me. All authentic all the time. So not so straight on the back, but ready? Who cares? It is all sewn together, and right now that is good enough for me. Oh, gotta pull my cart back. And now we're going to flip it back over, and you're going to move your panel, your pocket panel to the top. And now I'm going to remove this tape because it doesn't have to be kept there anymore. Thanks, Ingrid. And we are going to take the other pocket panel right side down and upside down. So if you're using waterproof canvas, this one's a little harder to see than the other ones. But you can tell which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side because you can see the weave better on the right side, and the wrong side is generally like a little shinier. So we're going to right side down on that one and line those up. And now we are lining it up with the other end of the zipper. Tape. Zipper tape. So grab my handy dandy DST. Throw a little inch and a half piece in the corner. And let's pull the zipper closed so that we... Oh! No! Ah! This is what happened. So luckily, I've only sewn in 1/2 of the zipper tape, so this is still salvageable without having to rip anything out. Just might be a little more finicky, so I'm just going to do this by hand. So I'm going to do the side that is sewn in already first, just because that's the harder side to manipulate. And then I will put in the other side. And okay. So, not going to do that again. So now it's just going to line up. So your bottoms of your pocket panels are going to align. And this, the top of this, and your zipper tape and your seam allowance for the bottom panel all need to be sewn through. Thanks, Nova and Ingrid. So, double-sided tape needs to catch there and here. So you are going to leave it like this, but flip it over when you sew it. So wait a second. Yeah, that's right. And now we're going to switch thread again, because now I don't want to use olive on my camel. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Ugh. Gonna deal with that later. And by later, I mean the next time I need to use it. Rethread with my tan thread. Struggle is real today. So if you're wondering why I'm not using my needle threader that comes with the machine, it's because I hate that it doesn't work all the time and it does not work the way it's supposed to. So I would rather just sit here and struggle on my own to thread it than to get mad at a feature that is on the machine that I paid for that doesn't work. Oh, and I just remembered that the last Sewalong, or the last day we were actually together, I was having an issue with my bobbin case because the bobbin wouldn't come out of it. Luckily, I have another one. So, yes, I have 3. At this rate, I'm going to buy more. It really makes me mad, Ingrid. Like, why is it called an automatic needle threader? There is nothing flippin' automatic about it. You still have to do the work. It's not like you push a button and then it threads itself. No problem, Monica. You know, just sitting here, shooting the crap, having issues, the usual. Okay, so before I even sew anything, flip up and let's make sure we have everything where it's supposed to be. Yes. Alright, and now as I am nearing the zipper pull, same thing, needle down, turn the fabric, and move the zipper pull out of the way. Rotate it back. And make sure your panels are where they're supposed to be. Drop your presser foot and we're just going to finish this last little bit. Acts like a donkey. I like that. Okay, so trim all the little threads. And then we have this. So now we're going to move on after I grab a drink. Grab my little roller doohickey. Because now we are going to flip both of the panels down. and press or roll, in this case, a seam. I like that. Act a donkey. So now with your panels right side up, you are going to mark a line 2.5 inches in from the side. Going to grab my silver marking pen. I had to buy like generic pen barrels to put the silver marking refills that you can get on Amazon, because there's no way I can keep track of one. See, I can't even keep track of my ruler. Oh, right here. There's no way I can keep track of one Tandy leather marking pen, and I'm not going to buy like 20 of them. So I bought the refills and then got the little empty barrels. So and reminder, we use this because it can be wiped off. However, your results may vary, so please test it out first. Don't do it and then it doesn't come off, and then, well, Tammy said... So now we're going to top stitch the lines that we just drew, keeping the stitch length at 4, making sure everything is lined up where it's supposed to be. What the flip? So what did everybody do today, or what is everybody doing on this lovely, lovely Saturday? A what? Uja flip? I need one of those stores. Oh, Jenna, me too. And yay for giveaways. Sorry to hear about your car repairs, Nicole. I understand. I get those too. It's very nice of you, Beth. Wow, Colleen, you're actually sewing the Easter baskets together? Cute. Cindy, that's making me hungry. And Ingrid, I've never actually watched Law and Order. Catherine, I am assuming that is a sewing machine by, I cannot say the name, Husqvarna? Something? You know, that one brand that I can't pronounce. / Viking. I can say the Viking part. Kathy, is he home now? That's good. I'm glad that he is home. Nicole, we are making the Atlas rucksack. Yeah, see, I can see the name in my head, but there's, I have zero idea how to pronounce that, actually. Okay. So I I sewed my lines down, and if you look at the back, it caught so it closes the pockets. And now we are going to machine baste that lower just to finish off the pocket. So we are machine basting at a 1/4 inch. Your pocket might not stick out as much as mine does from the actual vinyl, but I am counting the 1/4 inch from the edge of my vinyl, so that, because the next step has us trimming the pocket to match the lower panel. Yeah, you don't have to, but I just finished it all the way down. Husqvarna. Oh, it's an embroidery machine. I want one of those. So I'm going ahead and trimming the pocket lining down to be even with the vinyl panel. And now, this is now the front main panel. Yay! This is bigger than I thought it would be, but we're not done yet, so. And now let's pin together the other ones, and we are going to sew along the edge. So remember, you are matching up right sides together, and whoops. And you're going to match the side that is 18 inches, because I know the other piece, very, very similar to a square, but one's actually 17 inches and the other's 18. So now we are going to do basically the same thing as we did on the other side when we put them together. So we're going to sew with that same inch seam allowance, but obviously we're not putting a pocket here. So changing that back to 3. Don't forget to back stitch. Okay, and take my little roller thingy, and I'm gonna roll. And then we're going to top stitch along both sides of the seam through the upper panel and then repeat through the lower panels. So you press or rolled your seams open, and now you're going to top stitch. And I'm going to start with the vinyl side because that's the color thread that I have in there right now. Change my stitch length back to a 4. Forgot to mention that this is at a 1/4 inch seam allowance as opposed to the usual 1/8 inch seam allowance for top stitching. And then once again, changing the thread. Oh man! Remember when I said I would deal with this later? Well, now the time has come. I don't even know what to do with this. Like I would just take this whole thing and cut it off, but I don't know where the end is. Like that might not be the end part of it, so then I would have another loose end in there somewhere. So I guess I will just sit here and unwind until it's gone. Oh, I'm not untangling, I'm just apparently getting to the point where I can't pull anymore. This is insane. Now I lost my end. Okay. Fudge. And we're done. Thank you, Lizzie. Ingrid, I do, but it does not. It makes an angry noise at me. No, I am not going to make that noise again. So I may or may not have another sneak peek for y'all before we end later tonight. So if I forget, remind me. Where did I put that? There we go. Thank you. I feel validated in my decision to cut that thread, because how much ever thread I would have saved would not have saved any of my sanity or frustration. Yeah, I really do. All right, when I get to the end of this seam, I will push the button and you can see what sound it makes. It seriously hates me. It's never worked. Right out the gate. Okay. So, did you hear that angry sound? It will not. Like, unless I'm doing it incorrectly. But I figured you just push the button when you're ready for it to cut. I don't know. Okay, and yay! So now our back panel is nice and top stitched. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Because if there is, I ask them all the time. I don't know, I've never liked Teflon feet. I've never really had luck with them. So, Kathy, are you supposed to push the button or the pedal or whatever when the foot's down, or do you have to put the foot up? Okay, so next is the straps, which we did. Well, I did. And now we're going to put the hardware. So I decided to use D-rings because I have, for some reason I had a bunch of antique brass D-rings. So you're going to grab your top straps. So those are the longer ones that don't have the point. So right here, and fold one end of the strap under a 1/2 inch and press, which we are not doing, but I am going to just trim the very edge a little bit so that it is even. It makes the same noise if I push the button or push the pedal. So I just gave up and stopped trying to use it. And what? I don't understand this. Fold one end of the strap under 1/2 inch and press. So let's pretend that this is the 1/2 inch. We're not pressing. And then fold again 1 inch and press. Oh, is it just to clean the edge? So that the edge doesn't show? Is that only for like fabric? Why don't I don't read. If using vinyl, fold the vinyl under 1 inch one time leaving the raw end visible. I am being exactly what I complain about, and I'm being that person that doesn't read. So we're just going to roughly measure out the inch, and you are going to put 2 D-rings into that fold. And I have to change the thread again. I should have just sewn it with thread that didn't match. So I'm actually really glad that I'm doing this so long right now and keeping myself busy, because earlier today, Jeff and I went to pick up a bike. He's been wanting to get one, and like, we're talking Harley bike, not a Schwinn bike. And I am a little bit anxious because I've never really been around motorcycles, and he's out riding right now, so I'm like trying to not be anxious and panic, and is he home? And he can't really text when he's on a bike. Shouldn't be texting in the car either, but they do. Kathy, but your bags always turn out phenomenal, so whatever you endure, totally worth it. Are you still working on that bed, the pink, what was it? What were you making? Was it the Brooklyn? Yeah. So before he left, he was like, "You want to get on it?" And I'm like, "My feet are not even going to touch the ground on that thing. Are you kidding me?" By the way, I'm like a scant 5 foot, so I'm really short. So why my feet don't touch the ground in anything? Okay, so I'm going to hand crank just to see how angry this gets, which so far so good, except for the fact that my thread broke again. I mean, I guess it's not as bad as the other day when I was breaking thread every 5 seconds. And at least I managed to sew that line. Oh, he used to have one before we started dating. And he got rid of it before he met me. And he wanted to get one, and he was afraid to tell me because he was afraid I'd say no. I'm like, why would I say no? I would rather you spend money on that than something dumb. Okay. So I am going to punch a hole to put some rivets in there, because this is just not gonna work. So the stitches that are in there are very much skipped, which, I mean, it's going through a lot, and there's no real clearance because it is too thick, so it's not a whole lot of room underneath the presser foot. I'm using Gutermann Mara 100 right now. Yeah, Beth, absolutely. So, in the grand scheme of things, there are worse things he could be doing. So, and he's a very, very good driver, because he's a truck driver. So, I try to tell myself that, of course, that means he's going to be a good bike rider or a rider. I don't know. What is the term? So when you're choosing your rivets, you want rivets a size, and when I mean size, I'm talking about the post length. You want one that is like barely sticking out, if at all. Because if your post is too big, it's not going, or too long, it's not going to hold your layers together. There's going to be too much space. So well, I hope one rivet's going to be enough, because that's all I have room for. What is an Indian bike? Okay, so and then we're going to do the same thing to this end. So make sure that you are folding them in on the same side, so that you're not like this end is folded this way and this end is folded that way. So same side. Put in 2 more D-rings. And punch a hole. Come on. And I might as well just grab the rivets I need. One, two, three. And now I need 3 caps. Ingrid, this is from Cam Snaps. It is the KX2 Pro handheld something or other. But I actually had it mounted onto a block of wood. So usually it is like just the silver part, not the wooden block part. But I had it mounted on that so that it'd be easier to use. The thing that's not easier is storing it, because now it takes up a lot more room than it did. Yeah, Deb, this uses 8 of them. So either 8 O-rings, D-rings, or rectangle rings. And I had exactly 8 rectangle rings, and I'm like, what if I need that for something else? Did I drop the other one? Seriously. This is like half the sew along with me, like just looking for where I put crap. Thanks, Kathy. Take a look at it later. Why? And then checking sides, and this is the last end I have to put D-rings on. And the last rivet for the strap. Okay, so both of your straps, your top straps should look like this. And mine do, so I need to get better at putting stuff away. I guess I can't really put that one away. And then we already did the handle. We sewed the bottom straps together. And now we're going to attach the straps. So on the back side, on the right side of the back main panel, draw a line that is 9 inches down and parallel to the top edge. Had some crazy weather. go 9 inches down. And grab my heat erase pen. Just gonna draw a line across and then line my ruler up to that, just to make the line a little longer, just in case I need it. And now we are marking a line that is 1 inch below that line. So instead of me taking this, going down 1 inch, marking it, and then going back and doing the same thing, I'm going to turn my ruler this way, and I'm going to measure, I'm going to line this up with that top line that I just drew, and then I'm going to draw the second line underneath right here so that they're 1 inch apart. So this is when it's pivotal to have, one, a ruler that you can see through, and something to mark with that you'll be able to see through the ruler. So we're going to mark an inch box that is 5 inches from the left hand side, that is between those two lines that we just did. So I'm going to measure 5 inches, and then I'm going to draw a perpendicular line that connects the two lines that I already drew. And then I'm going to measure out another inch and draw another line, and I will show you when I'm done drawing so that hopefully it makes a little more sense. So I'm repeating that for the right side. And then doing that one more time, but 6.5 inches in. And I didn't do that on this side yet, so let me do that real quick. So 6.5, make a line, go down 1 inch from that line, and make another line. Okay. So I'm actually going to grab the camera. Sorry, I hate doing that because I don't like when I'm watching videos and things start to get shaky, but it's going to be the easiest way to show you. Okay. So this is the piece that we have, right? So the exterior upper and the lower. So you are going to measure from the top right here. Measure from here down to here should be 9 inches. And then from there, and so I drew a line this way. So this line is 9 inches away from the top edge. And then I go down 1 inch below that line. So technically now this is 10 inches from the top edge. and draw another line there. Okay, so then you're done with the horizontal lines. So now you go in from the side edge. So you measure in 5 inches, and then you make your first mark. So that's this one right here. I know it's a little hard to see. And then you go and another inch to the right, you draw another line there. So now this box is 1 inch by 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. And then you do the same on this side. So from the side to here is going to be 5 inches. And then you go over an inch, draw another line. So now you have 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And then now you're going to do the same thing, but instead with 6.5 inches instead of 5. So from here to here, so now we're on the second box that we're drawing, is 6.5. Draw a line an inch away from that. And now we have another 1 inch box all the way around. Same from this side. So you can faintly see this is the first box that we did. This is the 6.5 inch line mark. And then you're going to make another inch mark. And now we have a total of 4 1 inch by 1 inch boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see if I can move this back and not... Oh, why is the flash on? Don't mind my mess. I totally just flashed everybody. Not me, but I flashed y'all my hot A mess room. And then we're going to pin or glue base the ends of the handle inside the 2 boxes that are 6.5 from the side without twisting the handle. So that is this one. So you are going to make sure that when you're putting the handle on, it is like this or like this. Whichever you do, make it consistent. So flip them out or flip them in, but don't do this. So we're going to take the second set of 1 inch boxes, so the ones that are closest together to the middle, and that is where your handle is going to go. So I'm going to, well, first of all, let me trim the edge again. And line that up within one of those boxes, and I am going to machine baste across that handle where that handle is in the box, but I'm only going to sew within the handle. So like I'm not sewing from off the fabric onto the handle and back onto the fabric. I'm only starting at the handle and ending where the handle ends. So remember, you have 2 boxes. You're going to pick the one that is closest to the middle. That's the 6.5 inch box. Line it up and machine baste. So why was nothing moving? Something went awry. Ooh. And Ugh. Okay, so let's try this again. Find the correct box. I would actually start it in a little bit from the edge of the handle, because you can always back stitch to get closer to the edge if you want to. And now I'm going to take that, bend it over and into that second 1-inch box. Line that up within there, and again, machine baste that only on the actual handle. So let's trim all this extraneous crap. So now we have this handle right here in the middle of your back panel. And now you're going to fold the top strap in half and mark the center. So let's fold that in half, and where's my leather pen marker? Right here. And I'm going to draw a line, and you are going to pin or glue base the top strap to that with the center mark centered within a box that is 5 inches from the outside edge. Okay, so in layman's terms, you are going to take it and, hang on, I'm gonna read ahead for a second because I want to make sure that it's supposed to which way this is supposed to go. You don't want the raw edges out. So you're going to put the right edge down on these. So that's, or right edge, wrong edge down. God, I'm confusing myself now. So basically where your raw edges are, it's going to touch the right side of your fabric. So this is my middle mark right here. And I'm going to center that right in the middle of that first box that I originally drew. So now I can go ahead and machine baste that. So the line that I drew is in the middle of that 1-inch box. And So that's one. Now we're going to take the other strap, do the same thing. And tuck this in. Doesn't even faze me anymore. And again, you want to make sure that your raw edges from folding your top straps over are facing down, so your pretty side is facing up. And did I lose everybody? Everybody fall asleep? So now we are done with that part. On the wrong side of the strap support panel, so now we're going to put this one aside and grab the strap support panel, which is the smaller one of the two pieces that you should have left besides your lining. And you're going to mark 1.5 inches in. Okay, just making sure that it wasn't my internet and that I had been sitting here talking to myself for the last 15 minutes. That's happened before. So, draw a line down the center. And let's put some good old DST down the middle. Lizzie, you should go to sleep. Sleep while you can, for it may not be plentiful next month. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab my phone charger and plug it in really quick because I don't